Hi, Monique. Good evening.
Good evening, Paul.
Hello, everybody at home.
I should say good morning, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, and here we are back again with yet another incredible guest,
yeah.
which is absolutely amazing.
Oh,
This this guest could only do a pre-tape, couldn't he?
yeah. So we had to do a pre-record because Johnny's a very busy man, a very
Mm,
popular man, and as I in the introduction, I believe that he's a number 3 in the world in terms of rankings for palmistry. The guy is right up there. He's number 1 in the UK. He's published many books, and it was a real privilege to get him on. So when he said he couldn't do the Wednesday, unfortunately, we had to do the pre-record. So
Johnny Fincham, yes,
Johnny Fincham. So I'm
yes.
really looking forward to screening this. It's a shame. Hopefully, maybe one day we can get him back on a live and get some people in the studio with their hands.
Wouldn't that
Because, well, what I
that
realised, Monique, it's almost magic what he does. There's science behind it as well. It's fantastic. It's really interesting. So, yeah, the other thing I should warn viewers, it was a Monday morning, and I'm looking very pasty on a Monday morning. So bear with me on that. And I noticed my microphone got in the way, so apologies for the microphone in the way. But it's a good interview. So I hope you guys enjoy it at home. Please stay tuned as well, because we're going to go live afterwards. We're coming back, aren't we, Monique? We're going to do some messages.
Yes.
Don't forget to share, though, guys. It's really important that we share and get this information out there. We really love it. It's good to see. We've also got a few people coming on as well. We've got Pamela Watson from New South Wales, I believe, Australia. So fantastic.
Terrific.
Thank you, Pamela. She shared it as well. Brilliant. And Candy, Fluffhead. Hello, Candy. And Carol and Paul. Brilliant. It's good
James
to see you guys joining us. And Jackie as well. Jackie's on. Hi, Jackie. So, yeah, Monique, let's go and make a cup of tea and let's sit back and watch this interview. So bear with me, guys. I'm just going to click it on and then I'll put it onto a full screen. Okay, here we go. Mr. Johnny Fincham. Johnny is the UK's #1 palmistry practitioner, and he's also number 3 in the world. Johnny uses the latest scientific and psychological research into hand, finger shape, size, prints, and lines. Johnny has researched and been practicing palmistry for around about 30 years. And I read this recently that Johnny has looked at around 20,000 people's palms. That's pretty amazing. Let's get Johnny in and say good morning to him and get this interview started, because I'm really excited to have him here. Morning, Johnny.
Good morning, Paul. Lovely to be here.
Thank you for joining us on Spiritual Talk.
A pleasure, an absolute pleasure.
Brilliant. And you're not too far away from me. You're down the road. We just realised that we're literally, as the crow flies, we're about 2 miles away.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Good Lord, you can almost hear what I'm saying from where you are.
Well, look out my back window. I'll be able to see you.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do here at Spiritual Talk, we like to get to know the person, because a lot of people that watch the interviews are really interested about how their journey starts for you, for the person we're interviewing, because it kind of relates to them. And some people that watch the program are on their own journey. Well, to be fair, everybody is, but it's unique to everybody, isn't it?
Yes, of course it is. We're all on different stages of the same sort of long journey of our own, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah. So how did it all start for you? How did you get into palmistry? Because it's so unique.
Well, I'm a complete skeptic, and it's my skepticism that led me to it, really. I was at university, I was doing yoga, and the yoga teacher, who was a monk, a Buddhist, called Dave Gosai, he said, at the end of the class here, I'd like to just have a look at some of your hands. And, oh, God, these hippie dippies, this is going to be... So I actually dodged off, as I was sorry, I've got a lecture now, and I left. And then he caught up with me in the cafe and said, I'll just have a quick look at your hand. And so I stood there, spread my fingers, and he had a good look. And he said, rather than, as I thought he would, you're going to meet this girl. Her name is Kathleen. She'll be wearing a red dress, or some predictive kind of traditional stuff. He said, well, you have a very bold exterior, but underneath you're incredibly sensitive and incredibly shy, and you do find it really hard to meet new people sometimes. And he said all sorts of psychological, insightful things about my inner nature, which absolutely terrified and shocked me. And I was so intrigued. I thought this must be a con. There must be some way that he's spoke to friends or family, or there must be something going on here. So he said, well, I'm doing a course at the end of the month if you'd like to join it. So out of sheer skepticism, I did. And I learned actually that hand reading is not a predictive tool about pointing out where the future lies. Particularly, it's much more about insightful understanding of a person's inner life and the way a person's motivations, drives, fears, insecurities are all hidden within the palm, and it's about uncovering those things. And the course went on for quite some while, about 3 months, but I was the only one in the end that kept going. So in the end there was just me and Dave having sort of one-to-one sessions, so I learned a lot from him. And then eventually, because out of curiosity I kept looking at other people's hands, it sort of slowly built on from there. This is in about 1988 when I started. Yeah.
How was that received? Because I remember going back to the 80s, if you mentioned something like deja vu, you were thought of as a witch, or
That's it. That's
definitely.
it. It was a very materialistic age, as you know. It's everybody wearing massive shoulder pads and driving around in Porsches, and it wasn't a great time for things like astrology and spirituality, particularly. I think really it wasn't particularly well received. We only had one Mind Body Spirit fair just getting going in London at that time, and it was a very small affair. And so me and this lady Naomi, who runs a kind of spiritual shop in Arles Festival in the city, we started only the second Mind Body Spirit fair in the UK, simply so that we could actually get to see people, to read and to work on them. And basically what I did was I would simply grab people's hands and say, look, I'll just want to have a quick look at your hand. I'd say a couple of things that would get them hooked, things that were true and perceptive, and then say, well, look, if you want to follow up on this, give them my card. And I would do this in cafes and accost people in the street that I thought had an interesting looking hand. And fundamentally, the work wasn't really there. It wasn't as if there was a queue out there waiting, desperate to have their hands read. I had to spend probably the first 10 years convincing people that actually I could do something useful in terms of looking at their hand, and that actually palmistry was not an old-fashioned predictive tall dark stranger practice. It was about learning about yourself. So I still, to this day, I spend a lot of time telling people, I'm not going to look just at the lines of your hand, and I'm not going to just say you've got a cross here, so something terrible is going to happen in 4 years. I'm not going to work like that. I'm going to be working from understanding your internal nature. So the whole process really has been one of trying to build up business by, in many ways, catching people. I'd go to a party and I'd look at somebody's hand in the kitchen, and then give them a card. And so I pretty much had to manufacture a business in an environment that wasn't particularly, friendly towards that kind of practice, and where there wasn't a lot of interest. But it built up. It took about 10 years, but in 10 years I was able to work full time.
And to be fair to say, I saw you on a daytime TV interview, Reese. A few years ago. You are UK's #1, and to get to that status takes a lot of hard work. You're a successful author as well. You've published, I believe, 6 books. Am I right in saying?
Yeah.
One is still the #1 best-selling on Palmistry.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
thankfully.
And so, but I guess for what you're saying there and how I feel, I work in mediumship, and there is an intuitive dimension to how we work, very much so. And are you intuitive with your work as well? Does that come into it or not? Is there something sometimes you can read into somebody's hand? It goes beyond the scientific, if that makes sense.
Yes, I mean, inevitably, when you're looking at people and you're working with people, on the one hand, you have to be a sensitive type to work in this kind of realm. And on the other side, simply by being very close to somebody and being open to them, and then being open to you, intuitive things come through, intuitive flashes. But I do think the most powerful way of reading is to use, if you like, pure logic as well as intuition. I'll give you an example of that if you like. So this was a little while ago. It's 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was looking at a lady's hand, and she had a big interruption on her airline or headline, which is this line which runs across the center of the palm. Now, this means an interruption in your mental state, a sense where you tend to have a big shift of mind. And this often happens when somebody, for instance, married with 2 kids, everything changes. They move into another realm psychologically. They go to university. They start to think, talk, and act differently. And so I said, looks like you've had this massive life change where your whole mindset is different. And when you look back on your old self, you can hardly remember what she was like. It's almost like being another person. And I think this actually happened when you moved to New Zealand. I can just see you. And so I was using, if you like, pure logic, but I got this intuition. This happened when she changed country. And she said, good God. And she was astounded that both these things were true. But even if I wasn't intuitive, that massive shift in her life would have still been very obvious to me. So in many ways, there are 2 arms of palmistry, and you're trying to balance the 2. And if you like, your intuitive side gives a good example of something that led to the markings or signs that you're seeing in the hand. It would lie behind it. So you are on kind of standing on 2 stools in many respects.
So I kind of want to say also your yoga, because you practice yoga, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you teach as well yoga?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that as well, because that's quite a centered, quite a spiritual process, yoga. Whether that helps your work with palmistry as well, binding the 2 together.
I think it must do. I mean, yoga does allow you to deal with stress very well. And it can be very stressful because of course, people come along and they're often extremely troubled, and they've been waiting for a long time for the reading, and they're expecting you to try to guide them through some difficult life event. And, it can be quite stressful. And basic things like learning how to breathe properly, learning how to kind of not let your shoulders lock up, just basic sort of physiological processes you're kind of getting in control of, do allow you to read hands in a much more released and relaxed way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got so many questions coming from our audience, people that watch the Spiritual Talk. I'm just going to keep firing and sort of interject as well, if you don't mind, Johnny.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to start off with a question from Emma. Hi, Emma. Can you tell us on someone's hand, can you see if there's a past life that's relevant? A lot of people believe in past lives and feel that impacts on their lives today sometimes.
There's a big separation in the palm between what is fixed or karmic, if you like, and what is not. Crudely speaking, your hand shape and the print patterns, the fingertip patterns, is fixed. You can't do anything about them. They're there in the womb, and we would say those are karmic markers. So in many respects, you can see the kind of life lessons or the kind of shape of this lifetime and what may have led to it. But you could not say, look at a hand and say, well, you were obviously an ancient Egyptian last lifetime, you were a princess. You couldn't do that. What you could say is, this lifetime you have 6 simple arch fingerprints, and this means this lifetime is going to be one of very hard work. You're probably going to be born within a very tight family network with a lot of repressed energy. You'll have a love of animals, which comes from, so you'd be able to give a sort of shadow sense of what issues are collected through their karma or through their past life, but you could not actually make a sort of simple connection between exactly what that last life was.
So that has just blown my mind, that answer, Johnny, because then you have the potential to kind of work through your own karmic issues or opportunities, because I believe that's what karma is. It helps us to be more in tune with that and kind of find those answers that our soul seeks.
Yeah, so for instance, I have on my index fingertip, I have a very, very, very sharp pin, which is called a tented arch. It's like a triangle, which is very sharp, points straight up towards the tip. It's quite rare. 1 in 200 people have one. And this means you need to rise up, which in very crude terms means this lifetime you can't really have a mediocre life. You have to rise up and do something, which is incredibly stressful, difficult, and means it's inevitable that you are in some ways going to try to make yourself prominent. You find this a lot on people that are sort of minor celebrities. You find it on people that are notorious for very bad reasons. They might be a notorious criminal or something. But in some way you kind of rise up, and obviously that can be a very positive or very negative aspect. But once you know about it, you can use that very positively and think, well, I'm going to have to make myself prominent in some way. That doesn't mean to say you need to be super famous or, super powerful, but it means in some way you need to be an expert or need to be at the top of some little tree in life.
So I keep looking at my hand. But I guess when you have interviews like this, people start become very conscious of their hands. And I'm sure everyone at home is going, oh, what does that mean? There'll be so many questions after this, Johnny. But we have so many more questions I would like to ask you. A great one from Leanne. She's asked, have you ever come across something that's really rare that you maybe 1 in a million?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, let me think. Well, I came across a man with 6 fingers, had an extra little finger.
Okay.
Now, Anne Boleyn had this.
Really?
Yeah. Now, the little finger here, I mean, the normal little finger, if you want to call it that, is often called the antenna because it's to do with your communicative faculties. And in theory, if you have an extra finger here, you would be extraordinarily gifted in linguistics, in language, in wit. And indeed, Anne Boleyn was she spoke French better than the French, could make all sorts of witticisms and songs in Latin, French, Italian, as well as English. She was notoriously kind of, I don't want to say cunning, but you would certainly be a little bit sort of rather clever and able to shape-shift a little if you had an extra finger there. And this person turned out to be a linguistics professor to university in Belfast. So there was a link between this extraordinarily extra antenna, if you like, and this ability that this person had.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. In terms of if someone was a really good healer, what would that manifest as on someone's hand?
Healers usually have very, what I call powerful hands, in the sense that they tend to have a very big mount here. I'm trying to get this in front of my camera. This area here is usually very strong. This is often called the Venus mount. This area is, if you like, the mount of stored energy or stored drive and internal power. You find it a lot on performance artists, for instance, and usually they have a lot of oomph, as I would call it, and they usually have this. Usually is very big on anybody that's physically powerful. But you normally, for healers, have this mount large, but also you have an enormous amount of sensitivity as well. So rather than being what I often call the Russian builder's hand, because I've found that Russian builders tend to have this enormous, powerful physicality. There's also an enormous sensitivity. So you have both the ability, if you like, to transfer and connect with others, as well as having a deep sort of reservoir of internal energy.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I'm really excited about the potential for palmistry, also the history of palmistry. And I believe, am I right in saying it's closely associated with astrology? Is it
yes, it is. In many ways, that's one of my sort of big issues, is that, excuse me.
No, it's fine.
One of my big issues is...
Always drinking my tea in these interviews. You've got to keep the tea going.
You got to keep the tea going. Astrology is not a great fit in my experience. I mean, a lot of palmists would not agree at all, but nearly everybody in the Middle Ages, I mean, we tend to look back on the Middle Ages, particularly in the UK, as being a time when astrologers were sort of burned as being witches, but astrologers then were enormously respected. In fact, Queen Elizabeth I had her consultant astrologer, so did Henry VIII. It was absolutely normal to have consultant astrologers around, and if you went to have your boil on your leg dealt with, the person would first draw up a natal chart to work out where your weak areas were and what your humors were. So, if you like, astrology was the basic science up to about 1450, 1480. And so palmistry became if you like, a vehicle for those same ideas. So the index finger is called the Jupiter mount, the Jupiter finger, and the bottom of it is the Jupiter mount, for instance. Well, this worked out very well in very crude terms, because people use those same ideas. Jupiter is about ego, self-aggrandizement, power, ambition, etc. And that worked out quite well as far as it goes. However, I have not a very big Jupiter finger. I don't know if you can see, but compared to my ring finger, it's not particularly long. And in my astrological chart, I have an enormous amount of Jupiter. I'm a Sagittarius, all sorts of Jupiter issues I have. And so when you compare the chart with the hand, it's actually a very poor match indeed. And so having done lots of research from scientific evaluation of the parts of the brain that relates to parts of the hand, I found it's much more useful to use, because people don't know what the planets mean anymore. It's very rare to find people that have a good knowledge of exactly what the planetary astrological terms are. If I say to somebody, this is your Jupiter finger, well, they think, what does that mean? If I say to them, this is your mirror finger, and this is your mirror finger of self-reflection. The bigger it is, the bigger your ego, the more you reflect yourself, the more ambitious you are, the more you tend to be self-absorbed. The smaller it is, the more likely you are to have issues of self-neglect, etc., etc. That's a much easier idea to understand. And so in my teaching of palmistry, I tend to not use astrological symbolism, simply because that's not the way we use as our basic understanding of life anymore, and it hasn't been for 500 years. So I tend to use symbolism instead of astrology. But you're absolutely right. There's a very strong link between the two. And most palmists would use astrological terms. And most palmists have traditionally been astrologers first and then palmists second.
Ah, okay. Because I believe in terms of importance, wasn't there a time where palmistry was considered to be more important than astrology? And I think I'm going back to the 17th century, around about that time.
As astrology declined and stopped being the kind of ruling science, particularly of medicine, then palmistry sort of grew. And a book by a guy called d'Arpegny, in 1700s, he was the first person to write a sort of fairly logical book on palmistry. It did tend to become a science or a skill which overshadowed astrology. But the problem with palmistry has always been traditionally that its astrological fatalism meant that it didn't study the fingerprints, didn't study the length of the fingers, the shape of the fingers. All it was obsessed with the lines, and any markings on the lines were tended to be about predicting your fate, if you like. So that tended to mean, as we moved into the more modern scientific age, it's faded in power and interest. Excuse me. Yeah.
No, but so yeah, I mean, that's interesting. We've got a question from Carol, and again, this is very much, well, I find it quite interesting. I wouldn't even know this myself. When you're reading someone's hands, is it just their most predominant hand is current?
No, that's a very big myth. Yeah, no, it's a bit of a myth that your active hand, if you're right-handed, this would be your active hand. And the passive hand is the. Many people think that. Oh, excuse me, I've swallowed too much tea. Your active hand is the one which is current and about you now, and the other one is your past. And in fact, you are both hands. A very good way of seeing the two palms is they're reflecting the two hemispheres of the brain.
Right.
And one is the deeper sleeping subconscious, and the other one is the much more wide awake conscious part of you. So for instance, my child would recognize me as being somebody who's a bit dull-witted for the first hour of the day, blundering into doors, forgetting where I am, this kind of thing. And in my passive hand, I have a very big island in my airline, in my thinking process, if you like. But on my active hand, I have a very clear line. So once I've woken up and come together and I'm out in the world, my mind's pretty sharp. But I have a very strong indication in my passive hand. For the first sort of part of the day, I'm pretty bleary minded and pretty slow. So
yeah, I'm with you on that, Johnny. I have to say, I'm exactly the same. Bleary minded, walk into doors.
Yeah, well, it's really a question of, have these two parts of your hand. And what happens is in life, you do a slow journey from one to the other. So as a child, you're represented by your passive hand. And if you read a child's hand, you look at the passive hand. As an adult, you look more at the active hand, but you also reflect on the passive hand too. But on a very old person, you go back to that passive hand, and that becomes more prominent again.
Interesting. Okay, we still got loads of questions to get through. Okay, one from Paul Cook. Where are we? Have you ever read someone's hand? How do I put this? But it's not a particularly nice person. You know, someone is quite dark.
Yes, on quite a few occasions.
And how do you deal with that? How do you come across that? Is it more about giving them some pointers to help them? Is it, fulfilling a need in terms of not kind of, you imagine someone like that would have a really big ego.
Not necessarily. It's the small egos that tend to be the really, really serious problems, actually.
Okay.
Your Hitlers, your Stalins, your murderous Pol Pots tend to have a tiny mirror finger. Their self-reflection is tiny. They feel insignificant. And they would not think of their lives of being any significant at all. Hitler himself said in Mein Kampf, I'm an individual of no importance whatsoever. The Reich is all that counts, and if I die, who cares, kind of thing. So it's the small ego people that usually are far more troublesome. Donald Trump has a very small, slightly bent mirror finger. You can do a lot with people like that. I mean, you've got to bear in mind that shocking to me when I first started off is that extraordinarily successful people are driven by terrible insecurities and demons. And it's over and over and over again. You see that person who's a multimillionaire, that person who's a super powerful magnate, that person who's an extraordinarily gifted pop star. Actually, they're driven by the fact that they feel worthless, and deep down they feel there's nothing there. So you can actually try to sort of shift that desperate need to prove themselves, to be something, to acquire wealth and power, into a more positive framework. So yes, you can help them a lot. But yes, of course, you do see some people that are, certainly you see people that have the potential to be pretty difficult indeed. I mean, a common thing is to have a simian line. I don't know if I can show you my hand very well, but some people only have one single line across the palm like that, rather than having two.
Okay.
1% of us have just one line.
Okay.
Now, if you only have one line, it means effectively the water line, or the line of the emotions, has been submerged. It's not functioning properly. That, of course, means you can be absolutely merciless and ruthless. So Tony Blair has that, for instance. And usually your whole life is a pursuit of wealth and power. That's all it's about. Doesn't really matter about anything else particularly. And that can be a force for enormous good or great difficulty. Because people with a simian line tend to be much, much, much more successful than people without, simply because they're absolutely ruthless in pursuit of their goals. But if you can nudge them to sort of understand they're enormously powerful in a certain way, they can push that energy in a very positive direction and achieve enormous and very positive good in the world. So corruption can be led into positive pathways. Quite, with a lot of encouragement, a lot, through a long kind of counselling and talking process. But yes, it can. I really do believe most of us are, well, I do believe that 99% of us are born good, wholesome, wonderful people. There are one or two people that are unfortunately somehow born a little corrupted, but 99% of the time, I do believe we're all, deep down, rather wonderful, good, loving creatures.
Do you think that 1% is due to a past karmic thing then, or it just is?
You could say genetic, you could say karma, you could say some kind of medical condition where the mother had some kind of alcoholic syndrome and this is passed on and the brain hasn't developed. Unfortunately, there are certain people that are not fully functional and they have not developed the social skills, and that's from birth, I'm sad to say, and they simply are not going to necessarily turn out great. They do have to sort of you have to keep an eye on them, I'm afraid. That's just one of the kind of facts of life.
Another question that Carol Phillips had asked is there a possibility, if I'm right in what you're saying, Carol, can you, when you see the lines that affect you, and then they're not great traits, can you actually change those lines? Can you be proactive in terms of developing yourself and trying to work on those parts of you that are not great? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The main issue in the palm, which sort of splits the two aspects of it, are the fixed aspects, which is the hand shape, your skin texture, and your fingerprints and your finger length. Can't do anything about it, all fixed. It's a bit like saying if you're large boned and short and a bit stocky, that's a genetic thing. Can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But the lines are malleable and change. So in one of my books, I think it's Palmistry Practitioner Pro. I'm not sure. One of my books, I've got a picture of somebody who unfortunately underwent ECT treatment.
Oh.
And I've got a picture of the hand before and a picture of the hand afterward. And the hand is completely ablaze with loads more lines just 4 days after the ECT treatment. So it changed immediately. So yes, the lines change. And for instance, my airline here, my headline, the line of consciousness, which runs across the middle of my palm, it got about 2 centimeters longer when I did a degree in literature.
Oh, wow.
So yes, the lines can change, and if they're not great, and frankly, nearly all of us have at least one of our major lines that are corrupted. That's normal. You know, we're not godlike beings. And if one of your lines looks really messed up and broken, that's kind of normal, or you know, maybe more than one. That's absolutely normal. You don't find many people with the 4 major lines of the hand in lovely, clear, crystal, strong paths with no breaks or islands. That would be very rare. So if you know, if somebody is worrying about that on their hand, please don't worry. It's, you know, perfectly normal.
I know Monique and I had a long conversation yesterday because Monique's in Vancouver, and she's my co-host as well, Spiritual Talk. And obviously, because she's on the west side of Canada, it's 3 o'clock in the morning there. But we were talking about some of the books that you offer as well, and we've been looking into some of the books you offer, not just the books, but also the courses that you run. And I have noticed you do a course where there's 20 modules. Can you talk about that a little bit for people that are really interested in working with palmistry?
Yeah, well, I really do think that palmistry is enormously valuable in the modern world because we're so lost and so confused. We have so many choices, and I think palmistry is a wonderful help to guide people into the right direction and to make the most of themselves. And I've been teaching 20 years, I think. But there have been loads of people around the world who obviously have not been able to have access to my courses. And so I started an online 20 module course where I send you homework. I give you observations to try to find and look at people's hands. You have to send in quizzes, and you slowly build up a kind of repertoire of skills and abilities. And then at the end, there's a full professional palmistry qualification diploma you do, where you actually read a hand and send me your written assessment of somebody's palm. And that's been enormously successful. I mean, oddly enough, I'm just about to send a diploma qualification to somebody in Ontario in Canada. It's sitting on the table just beside me. So somebody who's just passed. And yeah, I must say, I've always thought that teaching online with videos and with talks and with feedback would not be as successful as face-to-face, but it's actually turning out to be much more successful. When I did the lecture series, which I've done in Portugal, Spain, Sweden, all over the place, Russia, I tend to get about a quarter of the people that do the course go on to then become hand readers in a serious way. But so far, and we've still got half of the course people to finish yet, half of them already qualified and have started reading. So it looks like it's going to be more successful this online way than the face-to-face method.
Yeah. We've got another question from Sarah. I'm going to share this on screen. She's actually sent us a picture. I've had a couple of people send pictures, and unfortunately, the hand was too far away. I couldn't blow it up, but this one I could. She believes there's a break in her. I believe, is that her lifeline coming off?
Yeah, around the thumb ball there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And she wanted to know why is that, and she's been concerned. I think she said someone had told her that that wasn't very good.
Well, don't worry. About 40% of people have an incomplete lifeline, so that's perfectly normal. That isn't really a serious break. You've actually got an interruption line, or a mercury line as it's called, that's running and cutting through the lifeline and running all the way up to the little finger.
Oh yeah,
And the line is being cut, but if you see, the line continues afterwards and wraps around the thumb ball.
yeah.
There are quite a lot of things to be said here. The first is that the brain is overactive, and this is somebody that thinks an awful amount. Somebody who's got a little bit of a sort of, overactive brain that's buzzing around at 90 miles an hour. And this is actually causing a disturbance in the digestive process. And the digestion is not brilliant. There's quite a sort of nervous activity there, so you're getting incomplete digestion. But that's about as much as one would say. The lifeline itself is absolutely fine.
That's good.
Longer term, it does look as if there is a need to kind of try and do some deep breathing, calm down, do a bit of yoga, try not to think so much. Everything, there's a blizzard of thoughts going on in that hand. Particularly what I call speculative thoughts that don't go anywhere. The brain is leaping around at 90 miles an hour all over the place. And there does seem to be a bit of a sense of someone that is a little bit confused about which direction to go in life, and that seems to sort of cause this sort of inherent overactive mind. But fundamentally, to concentrate on calming down, breathing, do some yoga, tai chi, something like that will
Yeah,
will be fine.
meditation. Yeah,
But that line itself is absolutely fine. It's interrupted by a lot of anxiety, really, but that
yeah,
won't cause any physical problems. Just try and calm down a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Brilliant. Thank you for that. I'm kind of concerned that Johnny, that I'm not a dictator. Can you have a quick look at mine? Because I've got quite strong lines. I don't know if you can
They
see
look
those.
great to me. Yeah, they look fine. You've got quite clear lines. Just pull your hand back a little bit, Paul, so you pull it away from the camera a little bit more, just so I can see the fingers there. A little bit more, a little bit more. Yeah, you've got an earth hand, Paul. Yeah.
Right.
Earth hands have the strongest constitution of all. You've got very large Venus mount. You've got nice, clear, strong lines. You've rather peculiarly got a double earth line, which is a bit unusual. The earth line relates to your grounding, upbringing, stability, and having two of them usually means that your parents are extraordinarily different to each other. They came from two different planets. And it also means that there is a sort of dichotomy between exactly where you want to live, what you want to do. It's quite important for you to kind of travel around a bit and to lead, in a way, a kind of a double life, to have a very simple rural backwater life potting around the allotment, but also to have a more adventurous outward going life as well, because you've got two
Yeah.
lifelines effectively. You need, in a sense, two lives. But fundamentally, you're in great shape. That mirror finger is a little short, so there are fundamental doubts about your,
Oh yeah.
your sense of who you are. Your confidence really needs to grow a great deal, because you're much, much more skilled, talented, and particularly articulate than you would allow yourself to have credit for. Your little finger is huge. I mean, that's colossal. The little finger is to do not only with communication verbally, but to do with written communication, to
Okay.
do with sexuality as well. It means you are somebody that is adroit, very good at wordplay, you're very good at innuendo, you're very, very good at using exactly the right word in the right way. And, you're very curious and interested in, the more, how can we say, the more passionate side of life. And you certainly have the gift of language, very well developed. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So I'm not a dictator. That's all that matters.
No, it's strangely enough, for somebody in the spiritual realm, you have an extraordinarily logical, level-headed mind. You're not at all ippy-dippy. You're not someone that's going to be away with the fairies in the nicest
Yeah.
possible way. You have a nice kind of rational turn of mind, which tends to like things to make sense.
That's really interesting, Johnny, because one of my passions has been trying to bring evidential mediumship to an audience that are completely not believers. I guess that's kind of my motivation, to try to be the best that I can be, without in a just trying to be an ordinary bloke about it, and not being somebody who's the ego. Look at what I can do, I connect, I bring messages of evidence from our loved ones. It's very much about the normality of it. That's my motivation anyway.
Well,
And
you're
that we
very
can all be a
unusual.
part
You're
of
very
something
unusual indeed, because most people because obviously I work a lot with people within the spiritual realm and people involved in new age kind of ideas. Usually that line is quite bent. You are very,
Okay.
very rare that you have an extremely level-headed, pragmatic frame of mind. I would also say, though, try not to be too humble, Paul, because you are much more talented, much more skilled, and you have much more going for you than you will yourself allow yourself to have.
Yeah, I've been told that a few times. I guess that comes from my upbringing, from my father, who was very, very grounded,
Right.
very grounded, and very, very much, remembering your roots, where you come from, and I think that is important to me.
Yeah.
Really important to me. So, but no, thank you for that. That was awesome. But we've still got Johnny. I could have you here all day, but I'm just going to see if I can find one more question. But the other thing I was going to say was that I'm really interested in is the actual origins, going further back into the Indian cultures. Have you done much research into that?
Yeah, I've got a huge load of web pages, which I've just taken off my website. But yeah, I've done a big study, and particularly another hand reader I work with, Christopher Jones. He did his PhD in the history of hand reading. Yeah, it's a fascinating study, and there's barely any culture in the history of the world that did not have palmistry involved in it. I mean, the ancient Babylonians, ancient Egyptians, the Romans. I mean, it's mentioned in the Bible on 3 different occasions. There's actually a line in the Bible saying, on her hand is marked fortune and riches in one hand and honor and fame in the other hand. There's loads of, there's 3 or 4 really important references to palmistry in the Bible. So it's been around a long, long, long time. I mean, the very first references tend to be in the Vedic Valley, what we now call India, but was actually lots of multiple little states way back, sort of third century BC. There was a book written then called The Secrets of the Male Palm, and that seems to be the earliest references to palmistry. But there are all sorts of references through all sorts of texts in all sorts of cultures. Some of the Greek philosophers mentioned palmistry. We've got quite a lot of interest from some of the early thinkers in terms of Karl Popper and philosophy. There really are not any cultures. Ancient China had a very, very big interest in palmistry. So it tends to arise spontaneously, as a matter of course, in nearly all cultures. Probably would have to say most of the books on palmistry get a bit stuck with an obsession with the markings on the lines, and that's where it was, a couple of centuries ago. And the difference between a modern hand reading and a more traditional old-fashioned one is that if somebody's just fascinated by the lines and are just looking predictively at the lines, that's more your old-fashioned type of school. And if they're looking at the fingerprints, measuring the length of the fingers, checking the skin texture, and going more into the kind of inner psychology of the person, that's going to be a much more of a modern kind of approach.
Yeah, it's just so fascinating how much research over the weekend, but I've been looking at astrology. I just didn't realize, and in my ignorance, how, I don't want to use the word magic because it implies something else, but there's this sense of magic about it, and a sense of strong identity as well. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, I was talking to somebody, not this weekend, the weekend before, I was out to dinner, and this lady, just happened to say, what is it really with me. I really can't seem to sort of settle. I said, oh, your middle finger is really underdeveloped. I'm afraid you shouldn't really be in this country. When that's short, it means you don't belong to the country you were born in. You need to find yourself settled and resettle somewhere else. You'd be much happier in enough. And she was absolutely stunned. And she was in the middle of moving to France, as it turns out.
Oh, wow.
Some just off the cuff comments you make, it goes straight to the heart of somebody's issues. It's like somebody being naked. You can see right through into them. And it's very, very powerful.
It is very powerful, and also the opportunity to heal as well with that, to grow and
Yes.
develop.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
a wonderful thing. And I didn't mean to do this while you was in mid-flow, but I wanted to show everybody your website, just so people I'm sure we've had many people that will be interested in going. So I'm just going to click on, but you've also got some great examples of people's hands here.
Yeah, I just put a few up there from one of my books. Yeah,
you got a rare composite palm print. What does that mean, Johnny?
Yeah, that's very, very rare. Well, that part of the hand, that deep kind of corner, the bottom of the palm, is often called the sea of the subconscious, or sometimes the lunar mount. And that relates to our kind of karmic memory, our sort of collective subconscious, our dreams. It's very much the sort of deepest part of our consciousness. And when you have that very odd marking there, that's 1 in about 800 people have that marking.
Wow.
It tends to mean you have a constant sort of sense of things coming up from the deep subconscious, which are forever sort of churning around. Rather than being asleep, if you like, the subconscious tends to sort of wake up and keep kind of bringing up these sort of shifting visions and feelings and disturbances. It's often called an unsettled moon in traditional palmistry. They call that an unsettled moon. Somebody that has really peculiar deep dreams, that might have sort of psychic visions, somebody who's always sort of trying to investigate the mystery of their own being, their past, their previous lives, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I've also noticed, and I'm sorry to kind of highlight this, the expressive romantic heartline. I noticed that yours goes up as well.
Yeah.
You're clearly an old romantic, Johnny.
I'm afraid I am. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So also I've noticed on here again, because we tried to do our research, your core details are here as well, right at the bottom here, guys. If you click on there, you'll get all the information that we've been talking about today. And what I did notice, and I will say, Johnny, I thought that was very reasonably priced. I've seen some people courses can be expensive, and especially almost unattainable to some people because of the cost of it.
Yeah, I have a big thing about that. I mean, one thing I've always done since I started is I offer a money-back guarantee. So if you come for a reading, don't pay me unless you're happy, which I think anybody in this world should do. And B, I've always thought, well, it should be accessible. The work you do, the books you write, the work should always be accessible. You shouldn't try to think of yourself as some kind of superior being that charge some ludicrous price. As long as I can get by, pay the mortgage and get along, I don't need huge amounts of cash. I'm very happy with the work I do. And therefore I don't need to make excessive profits.
Yeah, well, that philosophy in itself, I admire you for that, because similar philosophy to mine. So Johnny Fincham, thank you ever so much for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I could, honestly, John, I could talk to you all day. I'm definitely going to book and come and see you. Okay?
That'd be great, Paul.
It's
been wonderful. It's been wonderful.
We are blessed, aren't we, with the pubs around here on the river?
Gosh.
So maybe I'll take you for a pint as well to thank you for this. Johnny Fincham, thank you ever so much.
An absolute pleasure. Bless you.
Thank you ever so much. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Just going to add you back into stream. Hi, Monique.
Hi. Well done, Paul. What an interesting man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What a great guy. And so knowledgeable and very humble as well at the same time. And I love, like I said, the courses that he provides and does for people with the diplomas that he offers. I think it's very reasonably priced. But I was more concerned that I'd had a demo the night before over at Bradwell Spiritualist Church. And I just remember thinking, oh, Monday morning, this is a tough one. But we got through.
In there,
We helped
yes.
Johnny. We got through. I was just ashamed that we didn't have more hands and palms. It's so interesting, all the lines and what the mounts mean, and yeah. So it really has, doing the research over the weekend into Johnny as well. It's kind of really ignited my imagination into it. So I will definitely go and do some research onto that, into palmistry.
And I
It's
feel
almost there's so much that you can find out about something as well.
Oh yeah, I feel along the same lines as you do. I'd love to get a palm reading. That would be fascinating, and never have experienced that. So it's great. It's great to know that there's someone like him that's so knowledgeable.
Sorry about the broadband seems to be playing up, Monique. So you keep freezing. So I'm making sure everything's shut down. I'm going to take the interview off the stream as well. Remove from studio. She should still be there, Monique, because you've just frozen. That's typical. I might have to get Katie in to do the mediumship with me unless you come back in. So, are they back? You're back. Fantastic. We lost you for a split second. So,
well, we'll have to look at the recording because I didn't see myself freeze at all. But I'm glad I'm back.
Yeah, you definitely just kind of, Oh, she's not frozen. So, guys, sorry, it must be my end.
Yes, I think it is.
Sorry. I live in a small place just outside Norwich, and it's literally, there's only about 3 houses and a shepherd's hut. So, and they won't put Wi-Fi, so they have to use string for broadband cable. So I'm really sorry about that. Well, I'm trying to persuade them to put fiber in, but we'll see. Hopefully one day. So.
Well, I think the recording will just be fine. So I guess we'll do some mediumship then, Paul.
Yes, please. I guess everyone at home, if you're, well, that's a good point. I'm just going to copy the link as well because we're going to do the usual. We are going to get people in the studio if you recognize the connection that we have. And the good thing about this week being on a pre-record, we've been able to connect already and get ourselves, let's just copy that, paste that into the group. So hopefully that will go in now. You should be able to see the link now.
So if you recognize the sketch or pick up any of the information, if you're interested in coming in for a reading, please do let us know. We'd love to have you in here. Makes the connection stronger and it validates the reading for the rest of the guests. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I believe you've got someone straight away, Monique.
Well, while I was waiting for this recorded interview, someone came in loud and clear. So I am going to switch my camera and start sketching. As you can see, I've got notes on the side already as I was waiting.
Oh, wow. So that's part of your mediumship as well, isn't it, Monique, to make these notes as you're drawing, to give that evidence to back up what you're drawing?
Yeah. Well, as I draw, I can hear, see, feel, smell, taste. All my senses are active, and they'll even go as far as tell me how to draw them, what they want to wear, so on.
Monique, can I ask you a question? I know this is kind of an interview broadcast, what we do as well.
Yeah.
In that moment, I'm sure people at home are probably sitting there thinking the same thing over time.
Yeah.
Do you feel the essence of spirit in your hands? Take your hands, or?
I can feel. I go into a somewhat of a semi-trance, in that I do feel like they've taken over. As you can imagine, I know how to draw an eye. I have been a professional court illustrator for over 30 years. Drawing people is my forte and my passion, along with other things. But it just so happens that I've got years of experience in drawing people, and that could be precisely why spirit has taken over that skill for the evidence. And what I am picking up now, of course, I know how to draw an eye, but you will see, why is it that I'm drawing this eye? Spirit is working through me, and the drawing is, it's hard to explain. The way I move, how I feel, I can actually see the person, the essence of the person in the eye as they reveal themselves. And once I see the essence, I hear the information coming in. So in this case, I'm going to see if I can reconnect, because I feel center page. I feel what I feel to be a grandfather. Okay. And now this grandfather is from Europe, and I feel the nature of this man. I can sort of feel the culture, the language. Believe it or not, Paul, you'll contest to this. Even though we don't speak the language, we can still understand what they're saying, which is fascinating.
It's like a vibration, isn't it?
Yeah, and this man, I believe, is Swedish. I'm feeling Swedish here. I feel a grandfather. Okay, I'm starting to draw his eye. And
that's quite specific. So those that are watching that can't see the link, it's actually gone into my YouTube page, Monique's YouTube page, my Facebook page on Paul Bannister Medium, Giachi's, I hope I pronounced that right, Leanne Turner's page as well. She's kindly let us stream into there tonight. And Monique, the Medium page. It's for some reason it's not gone onto Kaylee's or onto Monique's main page. So if you're watching from different destinations, it's only gone into the 5 rather than the 8. And for some reason, it's not gone into the Spiritual Talk group, more importantly. So I'm not sure why. We have so much fun with Facebook, Monique, don't we?
Well, things are happening with Facebook right now. Yeah. So we don't know who knows what to expect. Yeah. So let me just talk a bit more about this grandfather. Now, I'm hoping you're going to link into this man, Paul. Okay, I'm seeing a man, but he's showing himself at a stage in his life where he is still virile, healthy, not terribly tall, but a casual dresser. I feel that he lived in a rural setting. Okay, Swedish, let's see. Right, I see him in short sleeves, possibly plaid shirt. I feel that he had some land, some property around his yard. This is not a man who was a city dweller. He was more of a rural kind of environment. Okay, and let's see, connected to nature. I also see, I just want to, we're going to stick with this man here, but there's somebody that also comes in with this man for support, which is a woman with white hair, frizzy, like she had permed it or something, and dark glasses, possibly black plastic framed glasses. Okay, let's see. Now they're both coming in support, I feel, for a grandson. Now, are you getting any of this, Paul, yet?
Yeah. So I know we're European. I know this I feel like I recognize this connection as well, because I feel like we possibly had him on the show before. I don't know, but I can feel a vibration that connects to him. The other thing is I see him wearing a cap as well. I know it's not, you don't have to draw it into that, Monique. I just felt it was a part of his life as well. Yeah. Like it's like a floppy cap, like an old cheese cutter type cap, but smaller and softer. So anyway, I can explain that. He keeps trying to give me the initial G, but I feel it's to do with a place. So okay. There was also Danish connections with this gentleman as well as Swedish. I know there's Scandinavian connections with this gentleman.
Can anybody in the audience take any of this yet, Paul?
Yeah, there's a Gothenburg connection here, so I know there's a Danish connection with this gentleman.
Can you see anybody who can take this in the stream?
Not at this moment. No, there's no one coming into the stream. So I'm just checking the comments. I'm just worried. Yeah, Xander can take this. If you want to come into the studio, can you see the link, Xander? I had a funny feeling this might be Xander. Okay, hopefully he can jump in. Very traditional man. I do feel there was a military connection with this man, but I don't want to say forced. I feel like, what do they call that over here? Like a national service it used to be. there's that kind of thing with him. It also takes me down. Again, I've had this before with him. Takes me down towards a fjord. I'm sure we've had this gentleman before, Monique.
Yeah.
I know there's an anniversary as well coming up soon. Here comes Xander. Let's see if we can bring him in. Hi, Xander. Long time no see, my friend. How are you? Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I'm going to shut the sound off. Sorry. Yeah.
No
Hi.
So we've got a gentleman here. We believe it's a grandfather. Would you understand this also? I know you're in Sweden, aren't you? Or is it Norway? I always get confused. Sorry. But would you understand there was a Denmark connection as well? Travel to Denmark? Because I got the Gothenburg connection as well.
No, but Gothenburg I can understand.
I don't even know where Gothenburg is. That's terrible. I feel like is it in Sweden then, Gothenburg? I should know this.
Yes, it is.
It is in. Okay. It takes me to Gothenburg with a connection, but I am going to stick with this. I do want to go towards Denmark. Would you understand this gentleman? I don't feel he was a military man, but there's some kind of connection to the military. Would you understand that? So whether he was press ganged or conscripted, there's something about that with him.
With military?
Yeah.
I don't know that part, actually.
Okay, also he's trying to give me the initial W. I know it's not an English name. He's trying to give me the initial W that connects to him as well.
W.
Yeah, it sounds like a William, but I know it's not a William.
Yeah, it is a William.
Oh, it is. Okay, I'm gonna start again.
I think it's a William, yes.
Okay, he's trying to. It sounds like a William, but I was getting because of the Swedish connection. It kind of trips you up a little bit because it sounds a slightly different vibration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you recognize the man in this sketch, Xander?
Yes, and I'm thinking of maybe drew his father, or he's younger on that.
He's younger. He's younger in this sketch, I believe.
Yeah, because I can see it around the eyes as usual, and
Yeah.
the face also looks familiar. But I need to show it to my sister and my mother, and they will confirm it because I'm not so good at it.
I saw a woman come in with him with white hair, white frizzy hair, almost like she permed it, full head of hair, dark glasses. I felt this was his partner, his wife. Do you recognize that description?
Yes. It was his partner. Yes.
It was his partner. Okay.
Yep.
Now I'm feeling a very rural environment with this man. I think I mentioned this already, and they're both coming. I'm just reading my notes as I go. Let's see. Yeah, I feel that I want to do. We're going to do a couple more messages, and Paul, you might have some more information here. But
yeah, I do feel the reason why he's coming at this moment in time. Hi, Sean. Hi, Emma. The reason he's coming, there's an anniversary or birthday coming up. He's trying to give me his anniversary, and I don't feel. I also feel there's a traditional celebration as well. Does this make sense?
The Christmas is a special time for us in our family, but this Christmas is going to be.
But there's something in and around November that he's trying to make me aware of that's coming up.
November.
Yeah.
I know what you mean by November. It's I know what you mean.
I don't know why I can't put my mind to it between the 21st and the 23rd.
21st.
Yeah, between the 21st.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. Yes, I understand that.
Okay, lovely.
Sorry being so dizzy.
Really important message from this man. We always say spirit come in love, but this man comes in with so much love, so much pride of family. Okay.
I feel that both people are coming in for your support, Xander, because I'm feeling that at this point in time, you're going through some difficult times in life. You know, I feel with mother.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a heaviness I feel around mother, and I feel that things are getting very intense there. And the more intense they get, the more hard it is on you. Also, I feel something around work and things that are going on in work that are causing you hardship there. I won't go into detail, but some things that are, that you're having to deal with. And I'm feeling that a little bit of overwhelm, almost possibly, if you're not, it's almost like mild depression, or it can happen if things go too far. Okay.
Yeah, I understand that completely.
And I feel a link there's something to do with a sister as well. Sister's also going through hardship with what's happening with mom. And I'm feeling between, I'm feeling that she's the kind of sister, that sort of likes to take control. This is a strong woman. And I'm feeling that the more difficult things get with mom, the more there's going to be a push-pull kind of thing in regards to decisions and so on. Okay. So I feel that they're both here in regards that your grandfather's partner and him are here in regards to support for you going through this phase in your life, which is very difficult. And I'm feeling that they want to say that they will be with mom. They are with mom. They're around mom. Okay. Is this your mom's father? Or your dad's father? I'm not sure which one. I know it's grandfather. Definitely, I feel grandfather here.
Yeah. He not my grandfather, but I think it's a father, as you say. But I must check the photos actually.
Okay.
Because he seems really familiar. Yeah, really familiar.
Yeah. Okay.
So
this is a young version of the man I'm talking about here. Okay. This is a young version. All right. But does that make sense? What I've talked about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So I know you have a large family. So, is there anything else you want to add to that, Paul?
No, you're spot on. You're just spot on with the way he's coming in with the love and support, and at this moment in time, it's really important. Okay, I just kind of want to get you over this next 3 months is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, coming into the new year, I feel that you'll feel better. It's just kind of the darker nights and that kind of thing. Okay. Also, lots of changes is trying to make me aware of September, something that happened in September for you, which is kind of what's happening now. Does that make sense? It's taking me to September. Something significant happened to you in September that's kind of put you on this course. It's making me fully aware that it's also trying to give me the initial D that connects to you as well, or to him. The initial D. And again, I don't want to say it's David, but it sounds very similar.
D.
I also feel this is on father's side. I feel this gentleman connects onto the father's side of the family.
Yeah.
And also it's making me aware of a March birthday.
March birthday. I'm so lousy at the birthdays. Don't
worry. Typical guy, I'm the same. Once I forgot my own mother's birthday, that's a confession live on air. It's the 1st of November, in case mother's watching. It's the first I have remembered. So, typical guys, we always forget birthdays. But this guy, like I say, comes in with so much love. Please take his love, and thank you for coming on tonight. It's good to see you, my friend. You're looking really well.
Thank you.
Take care, Xander.
Thank you, Malik.
Thank you for coming in.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. So, guys, if you're in the stream and waiting, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we'll get a message for you. So, let's go again, Monique.
Absolutely.
Are you on a roll, Monique? Have you got another one? Do you want to go first again?
Well, I'll just set up my paper here first, and then
Okay.
it takes me a second to do that. Let's see. Yes, those Xander's family came in loud and clear. They came in during the recording. As soon as I closed my eyes, he was there. So
Yeah.
let's see who else. Okay. Do you want me to try, Paul?
You can do. You're on a roll tonight, Monique. I'm not going to stop you.
Okay. I'm seeing a woman, and for me, I'm quite visual, so I see faces when I close my eyes. They come in and out, and I feel this is from the UK.
Yeah.
I'm feeling British here. I'm seeing a woman with also same style of hair as that last woman I just saw. It
Okay.
looks like she has curly hair, but it's either tied tight back or it's short, and it's dark. It's dark hair, and I feel like this may be a mother. I'm just trying to see her hair here.
I know I've got her.
You got her?
As soon as you started talking about her,
Good.
I do feel there's something unusual she's trying to give me with her condition as well. I know she would have had an issue in the stomach area. I do feel there was a problem. I'm not sure whether it's the bowel or the stomach, but I feel something burst or there was a problem within the bowel.
Yeah, I feel that she suffered a fair amount.
Yeah.
Made her unhappy. These health issues.
Yeah, absolutely. There was definitely she's also said heartburn for a long time. She's also given me that. Also, she comes in so strong. See, I feel I know we said mother, but I also feel she's a grandmother as well, because I know she would have made older bones as well. I'm actually getting in and around the age of 78.
Okay.
Okay. I'm
sorry
to be specific, but I like
dark hair.
Yeah.
Kind of a raspy voice I'm hearing, especially when she was tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see her being rushed into hospital as well. I know this lady would have spent a lot of time in and out of the hospital towards the end of her life.
There were children very worried about her.
Yeah. She's trying to give me the initial D. I believe it's either a Doreen or a Dorothy that she's connecting to. I also know this lady was very strong-minded and quite would have had an opinion, shall we say?
Yes, very much so. Yes.
Okay, and I'm really trying to bring this through. Emma, do you understand this? Okay, you've got Emma in the background. I've noticed you're in a dressing gown, Emma. Is it okay to bring you on?
I've been in bed since 7:30. I apologise.
Well, why not? It's the winter and it's dark outside.
I have not the heating on. That's my nanny.
There you go. That was it.
That's my
You understand? You understand? Would you understand her bloody-minded determination to get on with life?
Yes.
So strong-minded, so willful.
Extremely.
And no one was going to stop her. Would you understand that? Did you say her name was what? Dorothy?
No, my nanny Doreen.
Doreen, okay.
That's her. Oh.
You recognize the eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can really see her eyes. And did she have a little bit of a raspy voice? I'm just hearing her speak.
She was a chain smoker, yeah.
Okay, very good, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Also, she's trying to give me the name Michael as well. They're not Michael that connects as well. She's also given me loads of names coming in flying. The name John as well that connects to her. I want to give the name Brian that connects to her.
I'm not sure.
Brian. It's Bryan, not BR with the I in it. It's a Y rather than I.
Oh, no, I don't know Brian, but...
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask her.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you understand a brother-in-law connection with her? The brother-in-law connection.
Her brother was Kenneth.
Now, don't
So-
tell me. Don't
Oh,
say.
sorry.
Don't give me any names, because it's always evidential. We're trying to
Right, I see. Yeah.
the more evidence we get, the harder it is. What happens is our conscious mind comes into the process then, because we know it.
Oh, I see. Okay, I understand. Sorry.
So we want the information to come from spirit
Yeah.
rather than our own subconscious mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. You don't need to apologize.
Thought to.
Okay, I'm just going to keep going.
Sh-
Well, do you recognize the picture? That's really important. That's coming through.
Towards the end, yeah. It's quite. That's actually quite accurate. Wow.
Okay, I'm just going to keep going with this. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I feel this is on a brother-in-law connection with the name I gave you earlier, the Brian. I don't know why. I just keep getting this Brian. Also, and the John as well. The name John that connects. Does this make sense? The name John, because it's connected to the Brian.
No, but I didn't know her brother's family that well,
Oh,
so
She
it
is-
very well could be.
She is referring to Christmas as I speak.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
just feel Christmas. She's speaking about Christmas. That's significant. Does that mean anything to you, Emma?
Sometimes because they live far away from me. I sometimes used to visit around the end of the year towards Christmas.
Oh,
Might be
lovely.
one it is, possibly.
Yeah, I feel it was significant for her. You know, there's something special about Christmas with you here. So it's like, oh, Christmas is always here, almost here, Emma. That's kind of how I'm feeling with her right now.
Oh.
Would you understand the shuffling as well? A little bit of shuffling, and I'm forgive me for
Yeah.
saying this. The problem with her tights.
She used to wear tights, yeah.
Okay. Do you, again, how well do you know the family? Because I'm also getting another name that connects to the family. Would you understand the George? Is she trying to give me a George or Georgie?
Wow. To be honest with you, I didn't really know her brother that well or any side of that family.
Okay, I'm just going to leave that now. Would you be able to ask? Because that's always good evidence when we go away and find out. And
Yes,
ask.
yeah, I will do. Yeah,
Lovely.
definitely.
Lovely.
Was there am I feeling, is that correct? Was there cancer, Emma?
It was a burst stomach ulcer that took her
Yeah,
into
that's
the
what I
hospital.
felt. Yeah, but it was
She's a
birth.
trooper. My brother used to live with her till her last days, and she'd always just keep calm and carry on. That old wartime spirit it stayed with her till her last days. Yeah, definitely.
I hate to say this, but she kind of is she Yorkshire way then?
No, all my family are from Wolverhampton.
She's taking me up towards Yorkshire way for some connection up there. Would you understand the Yorkshire connection?
Stoke-on-Trent.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of north of.
Oh, God, I got Denmark when I should have been in. I thought Gothenburg was in Denmark, so I forget my geography.
Stoke is getting towards Yorkshire. To be fair, yeah, it's not too far.
Okay, my geography's off tonight. But would you understand the May birthday as well that she's trying to give me the connection?
Yeah,
to May?
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay.
I feel it's important for her to say, as I'm feeling her speak now as I sketch. She wants you to know that she's, and I know this is there, you know, all loved ones will come through with this message because it's of most important importance, of course, but she wants you to know she's fine, she's healthy, she's vibrant, no pain, no suffering. All right. I feel as I sketch, I just feel the need to tell you that. I feel like she's imposing that on me. All right, to tell you that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do you recognize the picture, Emma?
I do. If you put a pair of big glasses on, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. They don't, spirit doesn't always appear to me in glasses, but glasses certainly do make a statement, no question about it.
Yeah, that would be very distinct big glasses that she used to wear. Yeah.
Okay, she's telling me about there's an Irene in spirit with her.
Irene. Yes. Yeah.
And she's also, it sounds like Primrose.
Oh.
I'm not sure if it's a dog though, but it sounds like Primrose. Doesn't feel the way she's talking like it's a person. It feels like
No.
Primrose.
Is there a reason why I'd be hearing the name Nancy, Emma? I just heard it.
Nancy. No. Well, not immediately off the top of my head. No.
Okay. I just heard that.
That could be our next contact, Monique.
Could be.
That's awesome.
There you go.
How can I say this? This is a lovely lady, but I would not upset her.
No.
Okay.
Very perceptive.
This time, anybody that got in her way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But,
oh yes.
But a lovely sense of humour with her though as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you ever so much for coming in.
Thank
Emma.
you. No, yeah, this is my first time doing this, so I'm sorry about
Awesome.
the attire.
Well, we met on Sunday, didn't we, for the first time?
Yeah.
I'm glad you come along and jumped on a spiritual talk. We love it when new people
So
come
I. Thank you so much. That's bizarre. Wow.
We'll be happy to send you the sketch, Emma, if you want to contact us.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
You're very welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.
Awesome. I'm going to drop you out, but thanks, Emma.
Thank you. Bye.
Isn't it amazing that we can offer this, Paul? I'm just flabbergasted at what we're doing. It's so amazing, so wonderful.
Yeah, we've got other people waiting in the background that have come in on the link. They're all in their dressing gowns, Monique.
Are they? Must be late over there.
Maybe we should do the show in our dressing gowns as we're getting more towards winter. Or maybe do a Christmas special. We'll have to dress up, Monique.
Christmas, yes.
I've got an idea for a Christmas special, so watch this space.
Yes. Well, her grandmother did mention Christmas as being a special time
Absolutely.
for her.
Absolutely.
All right. So I flipped the page. Do we have time for another poll, or are we coming close?
Yeah, we've got a good 8 minutes. If guys would like another message, just go for it.
Okay.
Christmas onesie, Carol's just asked. Hi, Helen. She's joined as well. Christelle, hi, guys. So, I'm probably going to draw the line at a Christmas onesie, though, Carol. Yeah. Although I have been told I'm getting a Christmas jumper this year. Look forward to that. Along with the fact that I've been roped in to do a race on the 27th, running race, which is like, unless there's a football involved, I don't normally run. So it's a new one for me. You want to go first, Monique?
Oh, I have my eyes closed and I'm seeing what I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am seeing a man coming in, partly balding on top, losing his hair on top, fairly tall, slender, an older man. I feel he wears glasses. I feel coming from your part of the world, Paul, in the UK area, British or European. Yeah, possibly. I'm feeling UK. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and he wears slippers in the house. He just showed me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it looks like everyone tonight is wearing slippers and dressing gown, Monique.
Oh, really? Well, Spirit does have a sense of humor, and they can hear every word that we're saying here, including the guests. So let's see. I see him coming down a set of stairs. Like I feel like this place had 2 stories. So I see him coming down a set of stairs. Okay. Do you see him yet, Paul?
Yeah, I've got him, but I was just waiting for you to.
I feel like he's a father. I'm feeling that he's a father. Okay. That's the first thing he shows me.
Well, I'm really aware.
And he is wearing his pajamas now. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a house coat and pajamas. Unbelievable. And the pants are plaid, I think, flannel. I mean, it could be because we were talking about this that he decided to show up that way. That's hilarious. Do you see that, Paul?
That is very funny. No,
Yeah.
I don't see him. I don't see him in his pajamas. To be honest,
Okay,
that's
how
okay.
it shows me. Okay. So, but you do have the connection, do you?
Yeah. See, I'm working a different way tonight, which is always interesting. So I'm working clairsentiently. So I'm sensing these people, and I'm also hearing. So I'm using clairaudience. So I'm getting both. I'm not seeing tonight, but you're seeing very clearly. So that's good. So between us, we're getting all of it. So I'm very much aware this gentleman would have passed of heart attack really powerfully.
Was a family man, loved his family.
But not just a family, a large family. Because
exactly.
he's Mexican, a lot of children, a lot of grandchildren.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm also aware of the name Jane that connects in here. I also feel that mother is over there with him. I also see this gentleman on a bike as well. He would have had a bike because he's making me laugh. He's got a great sense of humor. He keeps giving me the name Jane as well. And I know mother's been over about 2 or 3 years. I'm very aware of that. He's making me aware of. What a nice guy. Actually, okay, I feel he's just changed that slightly. He said to me, he's the grandfather and the person who this is, it's their mum that's in spirit. So it would be his daughter that's over there with him in spirit. And I keep getting the name Jane. Also, yeah. Okay. And I keep seeing him on a bike, and then he's showing me falling off a bike as well. I know something happened to him with this old bike.
It's funny. He's showing me coming down the stairs at Christmas. It feels like Christmas. Funny, we were talking about Christmas. Down the stairs in his pajamas, Christmas morning. This to be with family. This could be earlier years.
Yeah. Okay. He's trying to give me a place that begins with W that connects to him. I'm rubbish with geography tonight. I'm hoping to sort that out. But he's trying to give me the W, but I'm not going to make this up and try to formulate it unless I get it. I'm not going to guess unless I hear it properly. Oh, wow. Okay, and I keep getting the name. It sounds like Jim as well that connects to him. I also feel this gentleman has a localized accent with him as well. And I also feel that, I feel we're connected to Wyndham. So I feel this is a Norfolk connection.
I can hear him. Soft-spoken man, sense of humor, like to throw a corny joke here and there. Okay, that's what I'm hearing.
An outdoor man as well. Someone very much would have loved the outdoors. Would have been very much an outdoor man. And we're not talking pursuits. We're not talking sports. We're talking the country life. Almost agriculture. I'm not sure if I'm feeling an agricultural background.
Yeah.
But life in his time was so different to what it is now.
Quiet lifestyle.
Yeah.
Beautiful surroundings.
Yeah, I do feel he was surrounded by fields as well. So he's making me feel this outdoors feel to him. But okay.
Hard-working man too, I feel.
Yeah, and my chest just keeps hurting. So I know this gentleman would have had heart issues, not just a heart attack. I do feel he would have had prolonged issues with his heart. I keep getting the Jane, and I keep hearing the Jane. So if anybody understands this gentleman, the connection. I know, Emma, you've come back in. Do you understand this, or Sean? I can see you guys in the background. So it's not for you guys. We've got some people in the back room. We've got... Okay, cool. No, from Kaylee, do you understand this? I don't know. There's a real Norfolk connection with this gentleman. I can really feel it. I'm just going to check the stream. My cousin is called Johnny.
I'm hearing a really strong British, like,
Oh my gosh.
I don't know the different areas of the UK, but I do definitely hear an accent there.
Okay, so Stephanie has made a comment. Stephanie, do you understand this? But not Norfolk. But he's got a Norfolk accent. That's the only way I can describe it. And he's trying to give me what feels like Wyndham, a connecting to Wyndham, a connection, and having this black bike. And I know there's a joke about him. I feel like he would have had the odd pint or two and going down the pub, coming home one night and falling off the bike.
That's his sense of humor, all right.
Yeah.
Found
Also, he's trying to give me the month of June that connects to him for birthday as well. And he's talking about really being stubborn towards, I know his guy would have been on medication as well. I do feel it's for the heart. I feel he had issues with lungs as well, but he had a weak heart. Okay, he's making me aware of medication he was on. He was a very strong-minded man, didn't always take or do what he was told when it comes to looking after himself. He was quite stubborn and he knew best.
well-loved man.
Yeah.
Well, you could see the personality in that face, no question.
Yeah, Monique, if you've got a stonking headache with this as well, I keep getting a really strong head. Not sure Norfolk, our baby was born in June and born in June, was a drinker. Okay, Steph, if you understand even 70, 80%, maybe drop in if you want to, or just keep going. And then I keep hearing a Jim as well. Sounds like Jim or James. Yeah, I know there would have been dogs as well because I can smell the dog food.
And he keeps talking. I mean, he's got a more of a, I know I'm Canadian and I can hear the different accents in the UK, but more of a rustic accent. Does that make sense, Paul? Than you, I mean.
Yeah, because my accent's a little bit more. Although when I first met you, Monique, you said to me, "I love listening to your voice, Paul. It's like one of those Mary Poppins films."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that still tickles me even today. I'm about as much Mary Poppins as Arthur. Well, I don't know, maybe Del Boy, but so I've got a bit of a London accent, and my father was from London. Candy's laughing, and yeah, so there's so many regional accents in a very small country, Monique. It can be difficult.
Well, I'm hearing rustic Mary Poppins kind of accent with this fellow here.
Can you say that and get away with it, Monique? You're going to be known, not really with a Jim / James. Okay, if it's not you, don't worry, Steph.
This is a strong portraiture, and I feel it's quite accurate.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah.
Good-looking man.
Yeah. And very excited to be here. I can feel that he's trying really hard to come through so people recognize.
There's also an unusual name as well that he's trying to give me. He's been trying for the last 5 minutes, and I feel it's like an Ursula. Also know this gentleman would have had particular problems with his gums as well, bleeding from his gums. He's making me aware of.
Mm. I feel he'd like to have a little drink now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that. He'd like to drink now and then.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like he's saying almost, I'd like to say hi to my mates. I feel that he had friends at work. I'm feeling like he had quite a few friendships. He used the word mates. I heard him say that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I do. I know for a fact this guy's buried as well. He's still keep going with the names. The name Mary, he's trying to connect with as well. And yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, we'll have to round him off. If no one can take him, it happens sometimes, and I'll get a message in the morning from someone from somewhere in the world saying, I believe that was my grandfather or my father, and I was putting my child to bed. I've had that a few times. So not to worry, but this gentleman just comes through with so much love, very much a family man.
Very
And
much.
and actually, I do feel quite a strong connection with him, military connection within the family. I actually feel it was him that was served.
Oh, as opposed to
Yeah,
okay.
we're coming up to I think it's tomorrow's November 11th. So
Yeah, it's Remembrance Day here in Canada tomorrow.
yeah, absolutely. So just making me aware of that.
Comes through with a great deal of love for his family, no question about it. All right. Let's see, I stopped drawing now. I'll see if there's anything last thing.
Yeah, this Kenny keeps trying to give me this Ursula is a name. He's trying to give me connecting to the family. Have we got anything else, Monique?
I feel that grandfather, they may have looked at, now this man is the father, but I feel there was a grandfather that they may have been taking care of or watching over. I feel it may have been his father, but I do feel a grandfather coming in, and they watched over this man for a while. This man was on his own. Okay, so I just want to throw that in there. I feel grandfather coming in early years. Okay.
Apparently Emma can take this.
Oh, good.
So she's trying to possibly get the link. I'm not sure. I think Emma can take this. I'm not sure.
Is Emma coming in?
I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Okay.
I don't know if it's happening. I don't know if, can you hear me, Kaylee? Is Emma coming in or no? It doesn't know. Okay, not to worry. We've actually overrun by about 6 minutes. Never mind. We've enjoyed ourselves.
We sure have.
We sure have. And Monique, we just need to pick a free reading for somebody.
Oh.
So before, we've got somebody in the back room, a young lady called Sean, and we're going to bring her up. Shall we get her to go through the comments and get her to pick a name?
Okay, and I believe it's your turn this time, Paul.
It is. It is. Hi, Sean.
Hi.
About somebody else that's got a dressing gown on.
Well, I'm actually, it's just because I'm a bit chilly. So.
Okay, you don't need to explain. It's fine. But good for you. That's all I'm going to say. I'll do the same for myself in a minute. So, can you pick from the comments somebody that's going to receive a free reading? Can you see the comments? You can tell me you can't see them now, aren't you?
I can see them.
Okay. Can you scroll and pick out a name?
Okay. This is hard. I've got a few. Well, I've got a few. We'll go with Candy. I like her surname, Floofhead. Is that her surname?
Yeah, I think Floofhead. Yeah, I think it's a great. I'm not sure. Candy, congratulations. Hopefully she's still on. I'm not sure if she's still on, but congratulations. She's been watching the show for some time. Never won a reading. So well
it's
done.
It's just her surname. I loved her surname. I
know, it's brilliant, isn't it? She was laughing at Monique earlier when Monique was talking about my accent being something from Mary Poppins. I believe I'm seeing you on Sunday, aren't I, John?
Yes,
and your
you are. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yes, and you.
And I can't believe we've been on air for so long tonight. We've just been hugging at the airwaves, Monique.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for watching. We're back next week with Jason Goldsworthy. Jason is another international medium, tutor, and really looking forward to seeing him on as well. And the week after, we've got someone exciting after that as well, which I believe the lady reads eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be really
United States. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, brilliant. Really looking forward to that. Monique, thank you ever so much. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Paul.
And we'll see you all next week, guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye,
See you
everyone.
later.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.